Hello BookTube. Today for Tag Tuesday I'm going to be doing the In tag created by Jim of Jim's Books, Reading and Stuff. This is the continuation of his long-running alphabet tag series, and I've been looking forward to doing this tag, as I do all of the alphabet tags. The prompts. In is for New York. What is the last book you read set in New York, either city or state? That would be The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. It is the first volume in what is likely to be an epic fantasy series set in contemporary New York. It is about a struggle between the avatars of a number of Earth cities. When cities in this setting reach a certain stage in their development, they can manifest as an avatar. A random person in the city is selected to become New York or London or Hong Kong or any city you can imagine. When this event happens, the city comes under attack by an extra-dimensional city based upon H.P. Lovecraft's Riley. And the denizens and beings of the city are very Lovecraftian. When New York manifested and came under attack, while the Avatar did manage to beat back the assault, he did not do it completely, and so he had to heal from his wounds, and to protect him, the various boroughs of New York then manifested as avatars. Manhattan, Queens, the Bronx, Brooklyn, Staten Island, and The City We Became is very much their story, trying to find each other, work together, and try to save the city and ultimately the world from this Lovecraftian invasion. All the while, the Lovecraftian beings are far more insidious than they have been in the past. I really enjoyed this novel, which is surprising because I haven't really gotten on with a lot of N.K. Jemisin's earlier work, but I'm hoping that not only will I continue to love this specific series as she works on it, but also that I can maybe go back and really appreciate some of her earlier work as well. The next prompt. N is for 1984. Which novel is closer to our reality in your opinion, 1984 or Brave New World? I've read 1984. I didn't like it. I do not like dystopic fiction. And I've bailed on Brave New World. That said, from what I gather, I think the world is likely to be more like Brave New World than 1984. I think that sort of the totalitarian sort of structure of society, I don't think really is workable nowadays. I mean, if it ever were really workable. Except for like immediately after the takeovers. So I would think it would be Brave New World. Although, again, I really should have a go at it again. But then again, it is also a dystopic novel, and I do not like dystopic fiction. N is for nightmare. Has any book you read given you nightmares? No, not that I can remember. I don't think any book I've ever read has given me nightmares. Has maybe inspired some very weird dreams, and maybe obliquely might have inspired nightmares, but no direct one-for-one nightmare from a book or any reading. N is for nautical and navy. What was the last seafaring book you read? Children of Ashen Elm by Neil Pearce. It's a history of the Vikings, and obviously the Vikings were a seafaring people, or at least in part. The raiders certainly were, and traders certainly were. Next prompt. N is for NetGalley. Do you use this or similar sites where you can get free ebooks and e-arcs in expectation you will review the book? No. I've thought about it, but I much prefer physical copies. So, no. N is for nonfiction. What percentage of the books you read are nonfiction? So, now I remember I was going to go through my reading log and kind of count and see how many books I've read and how many of those were fiction, how many were nonfiction, whether I should count manga with the fiction and the poetry, where exactly I should count the poetry, because oftentimes poetry gets sorted with nonfiction. It's weird. How non-academic libraries or non-university libraries sort their books, but anyway. I would say it's about 40 to 50%. I would think this year and maybe last year. Maybe a little less than 40, but I'm pretty sure it's like 40 to 50. Somewhere in that range. N is for 19th century. What is the last book you read written in the 19th century? I want to say it was King Solomon's Mines by H. Rider Haggard. King Solomon's Mines is an adventure novel. Also, I would argue, an early fantasy novel in which a group of, two British noblemen and his military friend, Sir Henry Curtis, and his friend Captain Good, approached the hunter, South African hunter, Alan Quatermain, to guide them to try to find Sir Henry's brother, who went missing when he went in search of King Solomon's Mines, which are reputed to be north of what is now South Africa. I think when people kind of try to map the map that King Solomon that appears in the book with actual geography, I want to say it's like somewhere in what is now the Democratic Republic of the Congo, or maybe somewhat south of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. So they go to find Sir Henry's brother and come across the fact that this legend, this map is real, and they encounter the Kukawanas, who presently live at the site where King Solomon's Mines are located, and adventure ensues. I really enjoy the book. It's been a while since I've read it, and I've been thinking about having another go at King Solomon's Mines this year for October, but we shall see. Next prompt. N is for Northanger Abbey. Catherine Morland's reading affected how she saw the world. Has your reading affected the way you see the world? Yes and no. I mean, some of what I've read have sort of informed my opinions about certain subjects. Obviously, I mentioned several times since I read it, The 100 Years' War on Palestine by Rashid Khalidi has really influenced my opinions on the Israel-Palestine conflict. And a few other books have also really influenced my thinking on certain subjects. Although I'm not entirely sure if my reading has completely sort of form how I see the world, or inform how I see the world. N is for notes. Do you make notes when you are reading? No, but I probably should, particularly if I'm doing research, or part of my reading is research purposes for my own writing. Sometimes that would be incredibly helpful. Although then again, it could also be incredibly harmful too. There's arguments for both sides on that. N is for neurodiversity. Do any of the protagonists in your reading have a different way of thinking to what might be considered normal? I'm not entirely sure. I mean, if any are, or that I can easily identify. So I'll need to take a look at that. But for now, I'm going to say maybe not. N is for next. What is the next book you intend to read? If everything goes according to plan, and I haven't decided to change my mind, I'm likely to read Empires of the Week by J.C. Sharman. It's a history looking or presenting a new argument for the age of imperialism, like the late 16th century or 16th century through to the 19th century, if not into the early 20th century. And the next, I'm going to do some of the optional prompts that kind of came in at the sort of end of the tag. 2 while I'm at it. I've got the time. N is for Nigeria. What is the last book you read set in Nigeria or by a Nigerian author? Well, the last book that was partially set in Nigeria is Dictatorland by Paul Kenyon. There's a chapter on Nigeria, primarily following the career of Sani Abacha, who was one of the numerous military dictators of Nigeria. By a Nigerian author, I want to say that might have been Freshwater by Oweke Emezi, which I did not particularly care for at all. N is for North. What do you understand by the North? It's a direction on the compass. N is for Noir. Who was your favorite writer of noir books? I wanted to get into James Ellroy because I've been trying to read LA Confidential for ages, but I've never quite gotten into it. I mean, the book is phenomenal. I mean, not the book. The movie is phenomenal. But I'll have to say maybe Elmore Leonard's Rum Punch, which is the basis for the film Jackie Brown. I love that book. So maybe on the strength of Rum Punch, I would go with Elmore Leonard, but noir is a genre that I'm not as familiar with as I would like. N is for nasty. Is there a character in a book that you found to be nasty? Not out and out evil, but just not nice. Well, really, I think Carolyn Thay from Gareth Hanrahan's novels, starting with The Gutter Prayer. She's the protagonist, but she's not a terribly nice individual. Although a lot of the characters in that book aren't terribly nice, but she certainly isn't. Sorry about that. N is for New Zealand. Have you read any books from New Zealand. I tried to read The Luminaries by Emma Canton a few times, and I've never gotten into it. So I think other than that, not really. New Zealand is an area of the world where I am woefully underread. N is for novel and novella. What length of book are you most comfortable reading? I would say a rather mid-sized novel. Roughly about 300 to 400 pages, give or take. Any longer, and I would hope it's a standalone and not a part of a series, because quite frankly those can get incredibly bloated and I grow tired of them. So I would say about 300 to 400 pages is fine. Shorter can work as well if they're well done, although sometimes there are things that are missing or don't quite work or whatnot. N is for nature. Do you have any favorite nature writers or books about nature? This is another area where, much to my chagrin and frustration, I am underread in. I do like Robert McFarlane's work. Well, excuse me, I've only read Underland by him. I'm hoping to pick up a few more of his books in the next few months. But on the strength of Underland, he is definitely one of my favorite authors writing about nature. Also, Cy Montgomery. I really liked her book, Soul of an Octopus, even if it was bogged down by memoir. But again, this is an area where I am woefully underread, and I would like to improve on that. Particularly, that is my goal for Nonfiction November, is to try to read more science books, more nature books. So hopefully I can find some interesting books to read in the next few weeks or months to kind of fill out what I've got. So anyway, BookTube, that was the end tag. Definitely had a lot of fun doing it. If you would like to do this tag, consider yourselves tagged. If you haven't done the earlier tags in this alphabet tag series, again, consider doing them. And I will see you hopefully tomorrow with another tag, because there are quite a few tags that I'm quite interested in doing. So until tomorrow, hopefully, have a great afternoon, and I will, because obviously have a great afternoon. I'm sorry, yeah. Anyway, have a great afternoon, and stay safe.